Okay, we are going to get started, and then anyone else who joins later can hop right in. And of course, this video recording will be available on the family's website at families.washu.edu. So, welcome everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. We're really glad you're here. This is the Division of Student Success's Family Webinar Series, and today's session is all about Workday Student. We'll walk you through what Workday Student is, what your student will use it for, and most importantly, how you as a parent or family member can access it and use it yourself. We have a lot of great information to share, so let's get started. First with introductions. My name is Ria Sharon. I'm with the Division of Student Success, which encompasses over 25 departments, including athletics and the Center for Career Engagement, Residential Life, the Student Health Center, and Taylor Family Center, as well as dozens of programs and services that help undergraduate and graduate students develop not just career competencies, but develop as holistic humans who are self-reliant, who are thoughtful leaders, and engaged citizens. So I'm also a parent of a 2026 grad, so I do remember being in your shoes not so long ago. I am going to pass the mic to my colleague, Danielle.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Danielle Bristow. I have been at the university for 20 years. I serve as the engagement lead on the Workday Student Support Team. So I help engage with campus stakeholders, including students and also family and family members. I will pass it over to Carrie.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm really excited to be here. My name is Carrie Dish. I am the university registrar. I've been at the university just over 6 years, and I'm frequently faced with people who have no idea what my title means. So the short version and what's relevant for today is that me and my office were responsible for students' academic records, which is why I'm here talking to you about Workday today. And there's lots more involved, but we'll cut it off there. I'm going to pass it over to Joe.
Hello, everybody. My name is Joe Rader. I am the Senior Change Manager on the Workday Student Support Team and have been with WashU for about 5 years, working on the implementation of the system and now supporting the system.
Great. So here's a quick look at what we're going to cover today. We'll give you an overview of Workday Student and what it does. We'll cover FERPA, the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, which is an important context for understanding what information you can access and when. Then we'll walk through how your student will use Workday for things like updating their personal information, registering for classes, and managing their finances. We'll share resources available to students, and then we'll shift focus specifically to parents and families, how you can get access to Workday, and what you'll be able to do once you're in. During the presentation, we'll be sharing links to many online resources in our slide deck, so this will be available on the Parent and Family webinar site later for you to reference. We'll wrap up at the end with a question and answer session, so please hold your questions and use the chat function for those questions. We'll cover as many as we can at the end. I'd now like to turn the presentation over to Carrie Dish, again, our university registrar.
All right, thank you, Danielle. So let's get into this. Let's talk about Workday Student, what it is and why it matters for your student and your family. So Workday Student is part of our Workday suite with Workday's Human Capital Management, that's their way of saying human resources, and financial management. It's WashU's central system for academic administration. Think of it as the hub for nearly everything related to your student's academic life here at WashU. It stores advising records, academic progress, course management, student records and registration, grades, and student financials all in one place. So rather than bouncing between multiple systems, students can find most of what they need in a single platform, and all of their advisors are looking at the same information as well. The system has been in place since September 2024. So next, let's talk about FERPA. It's really the foundation for understanding how student information works at any university in the US. And we're talking to you about this now. You might be wondering why we're shifting from talking about a system to talking about FERPA, but we're about to talk a lot about how students engage with their own records, and you're going to be wondering, what about me? FERPA is a federal law protecting the privacy of student education records. It governs who can access the information and how it can be used. In kindergarten through 12th grade education settings, K through 12, parents and guardians are the key contacts, and information can be shared directly with them. But upon enrollment in college, control is handed over to your student, and they are in charge of how information may be released outside of the university. Specifically, in most circumstances, students' written consent is required in order for information to be released. FERPA has some nuances and complexities, of course, as a federal law, but this is the most important takeaway here. Your student is in control of their own records. Students' age or financial support status is not relevant. My office, the Office of the University Registrar, has details about the university's FERPA policies and practices on our website for you to review. While students will be reminded about FERPA many times during their careers here at WashU, and those of you with incoming students participating in orientation this fall, if you plan to attend the event, will likely hear more about FERPA from your students, school, and other advisors. We strongly recommend that you discuss this with your student before school starts so that you can come to agreement how they will share information with you before they start attending classes. I'm going to hand this over to Joe.
Okay, now we're going to take a look at Workday from your student's perspective. There are three main areas where they'll spend time in the system with their personal information, academics, and finances. Did we stop sharing or am I seeing a different screen?
We're good.
Okay. The first thing students should do when they log into Workday is make sure that their personal information is accurate and current. They can update their addresses directly in Workday. One thing to note, their local address, where they're living while they're at school, is pulled in automatically from our housing system, StarRez. But in 2 years, if they choose to move off campus, they'll need to update their local address in Workday. The university also requires record of students' home address, which we refer to as their permanent address. Students will receive reminders about this if we note that they haven't been added. Students can also add their preferred name in Workday, and they can add a name pronunciation if they'd like, which is a great option for students whose names are frequently mispronounced. And here's the piece that's especially relevant for you as families. Students can set up friends and family as contacts, which is important for the university to be able to send information about upcoming campus events and configure third-party access permissions, which is how they can give another user the ability to log into Workday with their own login credentials and password. They'll also need to add emergency contact information if they haven't already. Workday is also where your student will manage most of their academic life throughout the year. They can view their student support network, which includes their academic advisor, their faculty advisors, and student financial services advisors, so they'll always know who to reach out to for help. When it comes to course planning, students can browse the course section listings for any given semester, and they can build a tentative schedule called a save schedule, which they can then review with their advisor before they actually register for their courses. Students register for classes directly in Workday. They can also view their unofficial transcript, request an enrollment verification letter, track their academic progress toward graduation, and when the time comes, apply for graduation, which Workday calls filing an application for program completion. On the financial side, Workday is where students will manage their student account. They can view their student accounting information, things like their tuition charges, any fees, and any credits that they may have. Students can make payments directly through the system. They can request a payment plan if they need one, and they can update their payment elections. Only students can sign up for payment plans, but parents can make payments on those payment plans. Unfortunately, there is also not a way within Workday to set up automatic payments on a payment plan. Currently, we recommend setting up auto payments through your online banking if that's something you are wanting to do. Students will also access their 1098-T tax form through Workday, which you may need come tax season. This form reports payments for tuition and any qualified educational expenses. Students with financial aid can view it before it is released, referred to as dispersed in financial aid language as anticipated aid. They can also view when it posts to the student account in Workday, but financial aid itself is managed primarily through the financial aid portal, which is called NetPartner. I'm now going to hand it back over to Carrie.
Okay, before we shift our focus to parents and families, let's quickly walk through the resources available to support your students. So there are a number of great resources your students can use if they have questions about using Workday. For learning how to use Workday, the Workday at WashU support website at workday.wustl.edu/student has step-by-step instructions for using the system. Most, if not all, of the schools also refer students to specific pages within this site to learn how to prepare for registration. Students can also attend weekly Zoom office hours. The link is also on the Workday at WashU website to get live help from the Workday Student Support Team. And if they have a specific issue, WashU uses a system to accept help requests called ServiceNow, and students can request support by submitting a ticket through the ServiceNow website at any time, or they can simply call 314-935-WDAY to speak with someone directly during normal business hours. Beyond using the system, students' academic advisor is a wonderful first point of contact for anything related to their coursework or academic planning. Academic advisors can be really helpful in lots of other ways as well. And the Office of the University Registrar website, my office's website at registrar.washu.edu has a lot of helpful information about academic policies and procedures, especially registration, dates and deadlines, the academic calendar, and FERPA, which we discussed before. And the bulletin, sometimes called the catalog at certain universities, but here at WashU we call it the bulletin, which is at registrar.washu.edu/bulletin, is our university's official publication listing full curricula, course offerings, programs of study, program requirements, in other words, what's required to graduate, and other critical university and school policies. Danielle, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Great. Thanks, Carrie. Now let's talk about what all of this means for you as a parent or family member. So once your student sets you up as an authorized user, sometimes called a friends and family user or third-party user, and is given those users permissions, you'll have access to a focused set of tools in Workday. Specifically, depending on the permissions granted by your student, you'll be able to make a payment on your student's account, receive proactive notifications if there's a past due balance, view account activity, view your student's statement, and view their classes. This gives you meaningful visibility into their financial account without needing to go through your student every time you want to make a payment or check a balance. Here's the important piece about your access to Workday. Your student has to set the permissions up. Recall that when Carrie discussed FERPA, it gives them control of their record. For this reason, your access can't be set up automatically, and we cannot set it up on their behalf. Your student will need to add you as an authorized user from within their own Workday account. The instructions for how to do that are on the Workday at WashU support website. The full link is on this slide, and later we'll share it in the chat as well. After they add you as a third-party user, they'll also need to assign permissions specifically for each task or part of their record they want to share. You'll need to have an active email address so that Workday can send you an invitation. Once your student adds you, you'll receive an email prompting you to create your own Workday account. For a full tutorial, please use this QR code on the slide that will take you to the Student Financial Services page. We wanted to let you know about a change that is coming to Workday this fall. Many websites require multi-factor authentication, like sending a password or a link to your personal email account for verification, especially when there's sensitive information like banking or finances. Workday will be adding this security to your login experience. We're not sure exactly what it will look like at this time. However, we plan on sending you more information to the email that you will use to log in early this fall before it goes into effect, as well as several reminders, so be on the lookout for those emails. Let's go over the resources specifically available to U.S. family members. For parents and families, your primary resource for Workday access and student financial information is the Financial Services page, the website here, as well as the QR code. This page walks through everything related to your Workday account as a family member. You can also call 314-935-WDAY during business hours if you'd like to speak to someone. That line supports both students and families. Additionally, the Office of the University Registrar website at registrar.wshu.edu and the Bulletin website that Carrie shared earlier are good general references about academic policies, programs, and requirements at WashU. Like Carrie mentioned, the official academic calendar is also included there, which lists registration and other deadlines, the first day of class, and the end of finals, which are especially helpful for planning when students need to be here and when they can leave for breaks.
And that brings us to our Q&A session. Thank you so much for your time and your attention and your patience as we go through the questions in the chat. I see there are already 2 in there, but if you've been holding a question, feel free to drop it in the chat or in this Q&A section. We want to make sure you leave today feeling confident about how to navigate Workday and support your students. So please note that none of us work in student accounting or financial aid offices. So if you have questions regarding those areas, it would be best to reach out to those offices directly. But I see we have a question here again about if we can set up automatic monthly payments from the parent bank account. I think, Joe, you had said that.
Yeah, we do not have the ability to set up those automatic payments through Workday. And so the guidance is to go through your own bank account if you're able to do so. So that's all going to depend on the bank that you use and the ability that you have to actually set up those automatic payments to go to those accounts. So it's gonna that's gonna vary person by person, just depending on the bank that they use to and the ability that they have to do that.
So we have another question about parent access. Their student gave them full permission and requested access, but they don't seem to be getting an email reply from Workday. Is that something that we've seen before?
Yeah, so if your student is if you're having access issues, I would ask your student to file that ServiceNow ticket that we discussed earlier so that a member of our team can take a look and see maybe where it might be stuck in progress. So again, I would have your student submit that ticket and we will look at it on our end and get it fixed for you.
Or call the 935 WDAY. Both of those will have the same effect. They'll go to the same people.
And as a reminder, we're going to have the recording on the family's website, as well as a link to this PowerPoint presentation. Does Workday have a link for access to grades? I understand that a student would have to grant that access.
Yeah, that's a good question. Grades are one of the things that your student can give you access to. See, they have several things they can select. They need to select each individually. Grades is one of the things that they can provide access to, so that they'll need to do that themselves within their own account.
How can you check when a payment is due in Workday?
Uh, Danielle and I both came off of mute there on the same at the same time. Um, that'll be in the financials hub that the student has access to, and also if they give you access to that as well, you would be able to see the due dates within those, and you would get notifications of those dates. I'm assuming, especially if you have a past due balance, there's definitely notifications for those. And I want to make a quick amendment to what Carrie just said briefly. With the things that they have permission to give you that they have the ability to give you permission to see, being able to make payments automatically gives you the ability to actually see the account, so that you can understand what those charges are. So those two are kind of linked, where other things like being able to see the schedule and being able to see grades, those are individual things, but the finance are kind of linked because you kind of need to see what the charges are that you're paying for and where that's coming from. So uh,
The next question is from an international student's parent, wondering if the university accepts regular cross-border bank wire transfers apart from Flywire. So I'm not sure if again, this might be a student accounting question, but what is the best, is there a URL, like a good email or URL that they can go to find the person?
yeah, I would, this is definitely a student financials question. So I would use, once this deck is shared, I would use the QR code that was given and the link that's also with that QR code, either one of those, to contact the student financials folks, and they'll be able to give you a much better answer on that than we would.
We have enrolled in the PEP program, and the applied payments are slightly different than the charges. Example, tuition and housing. Does this matter?
I would say that that is also a question for student accounting specifically. And I did put the link in a chat that directs you to the financial services website.
Okay, well, I'm not seeing any more questions. So last call for questions. But I think we're almost right at time too. Nice job, everybody. Okay, last call for questions before we release you to your evening to enjoy.
Looks like
Okay,
we have
let's,
two more
yeah, two
questions.
more. How are we notified of added charges throughout the year? I saw charges like tuition, and then a couple weeks later, I saw more like activity fees. I only know from the parent side. So if someone wants to jump in, you get emails.
Okay, there you go. I think that is the correct answer. You would get an email.
um, and then one thing is Workday ready for parent access currently?
Yes, it is. So yeah, if you're that's like something that you would want to discuss with your student so they can make sure that they're adding the correct users and granting the correct permission. So it's a two-step process. Add people as a third-party user and then grant those permissions.
This might go to the question we had earlier as well, but make sure that when your student is setting you up as a friend and family and giving you that third party access to go and access that the email address that they're using is actually correct. Because once that is done, they can't just go in and edit the email and have that sent to you. It has to go back through, like you'll have to reach out to our team to be able to kind of reset that so they can go in and add in the correct one before they can edit it. So just if they put it in wrong and try to edit, it's not going to go anywhere, and you're not going to get an email from Workday to set up your account. We'll have to do something on our end so they can go and enter in the correct email, and then you will get the communication from Workday to set up your account. So try to press upon them as much as possible to put in the correct email address for you so that way we can get all of that communication going and they don't have to reach out to us for help.
Okay, I'm just waiting, just in case we have someone that forgot something. Thank you again, everybody, and please feel free to access this recording later on if you can't remember something, because the QR codes and links will also be in there and in the PowerPoint deck. So thank you and have a good evening. We're really excited to welcome your kids to campus in just a little bit. Hi, everybody.